Hello, welcome to the Divine MF Podcast. I'm Richard H. Plime.
And I'm Nancy Thurman.
Yes. So happy Easter, everybody.
Yep, Easter weekend. Sun's coming out.
Sun is coming out. Spring is springing. All right, so today we are going to talk about balance. And so to begin, we have an excerpt from the Tao Te Ching, spelled Tao Te Ching, pronounced Tao Te Ching. And so let's just go ahead, Nancy, and give us a little, and then we'll kind of expand upon balance.
Okay, so this is chapter 28, and the chapter title is Balancing Opposites. So to know it is male, and to sustain its female aspect, is to act as the social world's ravine. To act as the social world's ravine, fix on virtuosity, avoid distraction, and return to infancy. To know it is white and to sustain its blackness is to act as the social world's paradigm. To act as the social world's paradigm, fix on virtuosity, avoid lapses, and return to the absence of ultimates. To know it is sublime and to sustain its disgrace is to act as the social world's valley. To act as the social world's valley, constant virtuosity is sufficient to return to uncarved wood. If wood is split, then regard it as an artifact. Sages use it and are regarded as officials and elders, so great systems do not cut.
All right.
So that's the chapter.
Great. Thank you. This has been an episode of the Divine. We'll see. Okay, so you want to just kind of walk through this a little bit?
Yes.
So let's go ahead and start it up from the beginning.
So to know it is male and to sustain its female aspect is to act as the social world's ravine.
Okay. To know it is male and sustain its female aspect is to act as the social world's ravine. So to know it is male and sustain its female aspect. So everything has a female aspect. So again, male yang, female yin.
Right.
So to do that, to know this is male, yet and sustain its female aspect, not to discard it, is to act as the social world's ravine.
The ravine. In other words, the support, the bottom where you start. In order to go up, you have to have both, is how I take this.
Oh, nice. What I get is just the image of a ravine holding it together, and it provides a direction of the flow.
Yeah.
Of an energy flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
The social world. So it's the ravine of the social world.
Yes. So the social world is in like being human, is what they're talking about.
Right.
Because this is essentially an operant manual for human beings.
Right.
In balancing their yin and yang.
Right. So yangs do not ignore or squelch your yin. And yins, yes, while it is about surrender, it is to not give up your will. You still have a will in there. And this is a delicate balance, because I feel like today, societally, there's such a huge, hey, let's trade.
Yes.
And it's not trade necessarily, unless that truly resonates for an individual to truly explore that. Go for it. We're not saying don't. However, it's not to ignore, to know what you are, and sustain. It says and sustain.
Yeah, to act as the social world's ravine.
No, I mean before. And sustain.
And sustain its female aspect.
Yeah, so sustain that small little piece of the opposite. Keep that. That is at the core of the outer expression, or the major expression.
Right.
So it's not to swap, but it's to remember, at the very center of all of this, at the very center of my will, yangs, it is a surrender. So then it's, what am I surrendering to deep inside? What is the cause of everything that is driving for me? Or that I'm driving towards, rather.
Yes.
So what is the cause? What is it that is driving me forward? What is that source of inspiration? What that calling feeling? To surrender to that and let all of your will and direction be driven by that, sustained by that, rather than intellectualizing, this is what I want to do.
Right.
And so what would it look like for yins?
I mean, for yins, it's kind of the same concept of, if you're going to sit around as a yin for a knight in shining armor, that knight in shining armor is not necessarily going to show up.
Right.
And you're still going to have to do the laundry. You're still going to have to pay the bills. You're still going to have to yang stuff. So, it actually can show up as a laziness and apathy in life if you're not injecting a little bit of yang into your yin life essence that you're actually choosing to do. So you have to respect that. If you get over yanged, yes, you can get tired. You can be exhausted. You can become despondent. But not. I don't believe that you will become that if you respect and sustain that, yes, I have to do a little bit of yin, or a little bit of yang in my yin. It's like you have to accept and hold on to a little bit of that intentional, directional, forward energy that is what is a part of life.
Nice. Yeah, what I get out of it is that deep inside there is a will driving the surrender.
Yes. And the other way around. So there is a surrender that you can do as a yin, but you still have to have a will to do that.
Oh, see, I'm thinking that at the very core, it is will that starts that to begin with. So you don't.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, it's just you don't have to do yanging.
Yeah.
But it's like that's what you are surrendering to inside.
Yes.
There is a will inside that you are surrendering to.
Yes.
I mean, ultimately, to me, again, they seem both exactly the same.
Yes. Well, and that's exactly the point. Is these are balanced. In everyday life, these energies are balanced.
Right.
And not in a 50-50 way.
Right. In a moment by moment way.
Yes.
Or what would you say?
I mean, it could go as heavy as 95% yang with a little bit of yin, with the 5% yin. It can go through a 50-50 phase.
Right.
It can also go the other way with a 95% yin and a 5% yang. It's the flow of life is what this is about, and how you balance.
Right. Yeah, you hit a very apt point, which is not for everyone to work on becoming 50-50 in both, but rather to identify what is the natural yin-yang balance.
Right.
Because maybe it is to be 95% yang or to be 95% yin, and that will kind of lead you into a life or into a scenario where that is exactly what's needed and that is exactly what is perfect for the job, for the business, for the community, for the family, and it will feel great to be able to be exactly where it's needed to do that, rather than change the self to be some other thing. I don't think we need a whole society of 50-50.
No.
Like some weird ultra balanced utopia thing.
Right.
Like it's already quite perfect.
Right.
If it's identified, if the self balance is identified and cultivated.
Right. And this has to do with your own internal emotional guidance system. If it's not feeling right to yin in one moment, you're going to know it. So yet again, it is moment to moment. It is choice. It's free will in that regard. It's following your heart's desire. Your gut and your heart will tell you whether or not it is how to act. essentially what to act on at that one very moment.
Yes. So let me ask, do you think it's necessary to know your like yin yang balance number? Like, I'm 65% yang and 35% yin. And I mean, maybe we should develop that online quiz thing. How yin are you? How yang are you?
Yes.
I mean, is it that to know my number and then, or is it kind of what you said, just the emotional guiding system, just moment by moment? Oh, it's time to go do something. Oh, it's time to chill.
Yes.
So
I think it's more that. I think it's actually, there is some advantage to know where you're operating if you're unhappy. I think that is the key. If you're super unhappy and unfulfilled in your life, then look at where you're approaching things. And am I a yin person and I'm supposed to be yinning and relaxing and chilling a lot more than what I'm doing? Then you're probably unhappy. Or if you're a yang person and you're like, am I chilling an awful lot and I should be doing a lot more than what I'm doing right now?
Right. Am
then
I playing a lot of beer pong lately?
Yes. Yes. And it's literally look into your life and you say, well, there's something missing in X, Y, or Z. Is it possible that what I'm doing and how I'm showing up has a distortion that I've learned in as a conditioning thing, usually from childhood or where you've been around, people you've been around and you've kind of picked up these habits. And does it apply to me and how I want to show up?
Right.
That's how you find out what's wrong with you. You don't have to ask anybody. You ask yourself.
Right. Yes.
And that's where I kind of believe that, a yin and yang quiz that we could develop for you would be fun for you to find out where you are, but not necessarily where you want to be. That's kind of the issue. Right.
I think, there's also, I mean, there's plenty of like the Myers-Briggs tests and like the Enneagram and the, Jordan Peterson has one too that he develops.
Yes.
Maybe you can do those if you're interested, and then know like what is yang, what is yin, what is a warming quality,
yes,
creating friction, driving, and what is a surrendering quality. And then through that test you can kind of translate. Oh, this looks pretty yin to me. This looks pretty yang to me. And kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yes.
So basically, we don't want to develop a test. We want
we want you to figure out where you're at without.
Yeah, you don't need anything outside.
You don't need a score.
Right.
We have enough of that in school, right? We're trying to unlearn these principles that we were told in social settings. More about learning where you're feeling in any one moment and where you're showing up in situations, how you're showing up.
Right. Yes. All right.
That's pretty much the gist of these first 3 lines, is knowing your yin and yang balance, and that you have to respect that there is some yin in yang and there's some yang in yin. Regardless.
Yes. Okay, so to know it is male, know what it is, or female, vice versa. So to know it is male and sustain its female aspect is to act as the social world's ravine.
Yep.
Then it continues.
To act as the social world's ravine, fix on virtuosity, avoid distraction, and return to infancy.
Oh, nice. Fix on virtuosity, avoid distraction,
and return to infancy. So, fix on virtuosity. Let's tackle this one first.
Gee whiz, that's hard. I mean, I feel like that's in the Plato's Republic. I think that is what is virtue. And they go for pages and like they're unable to actually define what virtue is.
Right.
And so I mean, I'll just throw out virtue as your inner alignment.
Authenticity?
Authenticity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, virtue, it's like what is right?
Truth to you?
What is virtuous? Yeah.
I think it's truth to yourself. It's a integrity to yourself is where I would put that.
That's virtue.
Because if you're not integral to yourself and you're yin or yang, then how can you be virtuous? How can you actually serve other people or the society or your significant other? Or if you're not true to yourself, yet again, we're coming back to the self.
Right. Yes. As Shakespeare says, this above all to thine own self be true.
Right.
And it shall follow as the night the day, thou canst not do wrong to any man.
Nice.
So by having that, this in self-integration, that is virtue. So then inherently, any interaction you have coming from that place will be virtuous.
Right.
Will do right by others.
Right. That to me, that's like a perfect explanation. I love that.
Yes. And that doesn't mean that there won't be catalyst or conflict with other people, but it's just that it doesn't have to be such a big deal. It is friction. This friction is like what allows, I mean, the rubber meeting the road is friction.
Yes.
Being able to go is because of friction, being able to move, being able to progress. So it's not to say that there won't be catalyst with people, but when you're both coming from this place of virtue, this self-integration place, then learning can happen. And the best possible outcome will come from that friction.
Right.
Yeah.
Avoid distraction means essentially fix on virtuosity, avoid distraction, and return to infancy. Avoid distraction, that seems to be pretty obvious. You stay focused. Don't think about it, just focus on it.
Yes. Yeah, and I would say not even worry about distraction. I am avoiding distraction. Because then what are you avoiding? Distraction. So rather just alignment.
Stay focused on alignment.
Right. And return to infancy. This is probably the best. Return to infancy.
Simplicity.
Yes. Possibility.
Ooh, yeah. Potential.
Like everything is unknown. Everything is juicy. Every little thing is just wonderful.
Yes.
Like what is it? A curiosity. Yeah.
A wonder. Wonderment.
Yes, wonderment. Nice.
Yeah.
Delight.
Yes.
Presence in the moment. No worrying or preoccupation with future,
or
with
past,
outcome, or past.
past.
It's just now, and
Yes.
now, and now, and delighting in now, and now, and now.
Right. I totally get that, and that it's life is a lot more simple than we've made it. For some reason and there's a hummingbird. And for some reason we've made a lot more complicated stuff that it's almost like it's like a justification. It should be more simple than what we're making it. Is what I'm getting at.
Well, I think it's not even should be. It just is.
It is. It is.
And we can like embrace it and go with it, or keep on not.
Right. So yeah, I mean, to me, I think return to infancy is a great way of keeping it simple, keeping the wonder, keeping it in the present moment. I think those are all great infancy focused aspects of how you're balancing the opposite, balancing your yin and yang. Don't make too much of a big deal about it.
Yes.
I like that.
Cool. What's next?
And it says, to know it is white and sustain its blackness is to act as the world's social paradigm.
To know it is white and sustain its blackness is to act as the social world's paradigm.
Yes.
So this one, I mean, it's the same sentence with a different example, but this time something new pops up. Is to sustain its blackness is actually just like it almost feels like a maintaining of the blackness, all the while knowing it is white. But that's kind of like, yes, it is white, however,
Yes.
sustaining the blackness of it. And that is to act as the social world's paradigm.
Mm-hmm. So, the paradigm as opposed to the ravine. The ravine is the support, and the paradigm is the way it rolls. Is how I'm kind of thinking.
Nice, like the flow of the water in the
Yes,
ravine.
yes, exactly. This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah, we're not going to mention what that's from.
It's not on anything from Disney Plus.
But so essentially, what comes to mind with this for me is knowing the treachery of the world and still being able to hold your love and light. To know the suffering of the world and still hold love and light.
Oh, nice. Knowing, it is white.
Yes.
And to sustain the dark, meaning not fight it.
Right.
You don't have to fight the bad.
Right.
Because it actually is still...
Yes, it's still present.
It's still the white.
Yes.
Yes, it is. So that's, again, the friction. I don't have to oppose the friction. It is the sameness.
Mm-hmm.
So using it.
Yes. And that's where you were talking about earlier about the contrast.
Mm-hmm.
The contrast is required in order for growth to happen, which is the point of life.
Right.
Life is growth. Life is expansion.
Mm-hmm.
We as human beings, as an extension of God or source or however you want to term it, we're expanding. And in order for expansion to occur, you have to have that friction.
Right. Yes.
Contrast.
Yes. Yeah, and again, though, it is all one. So I was talking to someone, this was a while back, and we were loosely talking, kind of pointing towards this. And so the phrase came up, there is no darkness without light.
Right.
Like, there's no darkness without light. But even to say that, it's true, but even to say that is like to make them two different things.
Right.
And so we were kind of diving into this, and we kind of came up with, actually, darkness, all it means is there is light somewhere.
Yes.
Light is shining somewhere. So if you are walking in like a city and like there's this dark alleyway, all that means is there is light on the building causing the shadow.
Right.
That means light is shining.
Mm-hmm.
So the shadow isn't actually anything. It's just a reminder, light is shining on that building.
Right.
And if it is night, light is shining on the world.
Right. I love that.
That's all it is.
Yes.
And we have the moon too to go by that. It's a half moon. Light is shining on the world and the moon.
Right. Right.
So the shadow isn't a separate thing, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we're pointing to here.
Yes.
Is to, know it is white and sustain its blackness. I don't need to change the shadow or get rid of it.
Or fight it.
It is all the while knowing it is white.
Yes. Yeah. They are, one is required for the other. So, and also the other way, you could actually describe it the other way too. It's literally how you would spin it. So
Right.
like there would never be a negative evil entity without there being good loving entities around.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because that is the humans love doing this. That's what we are in. This is duality. That's what Tao is duality. It's essentially, this is what this is teaching, is that without light you can't have dark, and without darkness you can't have light.
Right.
So both are just as important to each other, and it's required for growth.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the friction of the two and the contrast of the two in order for you to choose. So say, for instance, you go to a buffet and you have all of these choices. Are you going to choose the stuff you like or choose the stuff you don't like?
Mm-hmm.
Humans tend to choose things they like.
Yes.
That's pleasurable, because pain and ooky and discomfort, and humans have tended to try to avoid suffering as much as possible. But in knowing this, you know that suffering is required for you to know what you like.
Right. And it's still all one buffet.
Yes, it's still a part of the buffet. It's the piece. Yes, sure, you don't like the beets. Don't eat the beets.
I'll eat the beets.
I'll eat the beets too.
Beet. But it's like, it's one coin. Heads and tails, one coin.
Right. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great. So, the social world's paradigm. So in order for life to flow as a human being, you have to recognize that there is black and white. There is duality. There is choice in that duality. Mm-hmm. And how you perceive it is up to you.
Right. Can't do it wrong.
Yes, you can never do it wrong. Believe it or not.
Yep. So you could turn this off and never read the Tao Te Ching again. You still got it right.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that is so true.
So it's all good.
So the next section is to act as the social world's paradigm, fix on virtuosity, mm-hmm. avoid lapses, and return to the absence of ultimates.
Ooh. The absence of ultimates.
Well, let's go back to fix on virtuosity, because that's a repeat mm-hmm. of the previous line 5.
Yep.
So fix on virtuosity. Yet again, turn inward. What is the self-image? What am I going to be? How am I being authentic to myself?
Yes. What am I expressing? What am I emanating?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just by sitting in a chair, or by what the thing is you're doing or creating, or how you are serving others. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid lapses. So it said avoid distraction before.
Right.
And it's saying avoid lapses. So in other words, it's essentially saying don't mess up.
Yeah. Don't fuck up.
No, don't fuck up.
Don't fuck up.
But that being said, if you become practiced at these kind of concepts, you're going to avoid fucking up more. So you actually will get better at these kind of concepts.
Yes.
Of yin and yang balancing.
Yes. So how do you avoid a lapse is fix on virtuosity. Mm-hmm. Don't worry. Don't focus on what you are avoiding. Focus on what you are fixated on. Mm-hmm. Are you fixated on not messing up? Or are you fixated on, being in alignment? Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think avoiding distraction and avoiding lapses very similar in their wording, except for one is more of a fixed point. So what you're doing is you're focusing, mm-hmm. as opposed to an action step, avoiding lapses, which is more about you want to keep, instead of just focusing, you actually want to keep a direction.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Almost, I kind of feel like that's where that's leaning towards.
So like eyes on the prize.
Uh-huh.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah. Because not only would you, when you fix on virtuosity and avoid distraction, that means that you're sitting in yourself and you're going to stay focused in yourself. If you're fixed on virtuosity and avoiding lapses, you're staying true to yourselves with an intentional direction.
Right. Nice.
Is kind of how I feel like that's the difference is, because that's a paradigm as opposed to a ravine. It's more about the flow instead of like the static support.
Right. Nice. So what is an ultimate?
So in return to the absence of ultimates.
Yes. So what is an ultimate? Like an ultimatum?
Yeah, so I would say extremes.
Mm-hmm.
Return to the absence of extremes. So in other words, avoid the extremes.
One coin.
Yes.
This is heads. This is tails. Ultimate.
Yes.
It is.
It is not.
Right.
I think essentially what they're trying to say is, if it's a duck, call it a duck. Don't necessarily think that's a duck, though. There's always a potential for that not being a duck. I think they're trying to say don't go as black and white as what we're explaining here.
Right, because it is a duck. It also is dinner.
Bingo. Yep, and it's not going to quack
also is a shape
anymore.
in the sky. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And a duck can also mean, in English, to put your body under something.
Oh, right.
There's many ways to interpret, to perceive. So judging in an ultimate way or in an extreme way, I think, is what they're trying to say. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Return to the absence of ultimates.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, go not to the ends.
Right.
And don't label it hardcore black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Speaking of hardcore labeling, please log on and give us a 5-star rating on this podcast.
Yes. Yes.
Or whether you're listening on the Amazon or the podcast, Applecast, whatever,
Yep.
Spotify.
Yep.
Or if you're on
YouTube.
YouTube, give us a like, give us a share, because this is ultimate. No, but if you are enjoying this, please, we would appreciate you letting us know in that way, and by sharing it with someone else that you think may enjoy it. This podcast is brought to you by Shared Heart Journeys, sharedheartjourneys.world,
Yes.
Tools for the Awakening Life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in a place of imbalance and being fed up with it and ready to kind of shift your life into the alignment for you to kind of live your purpose, to give love in the way that you want to, we are happy to help you on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go onto sharedheartjourneys.world, you can click to begin a free 30-minute coaching session with either Nancy or myself, as a kind of intro to a 12-week private coaching journey that you can embark on with us. We'd be happy to go along with you.
Yeah.
So sharedheartjourneys.world. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Shared Heart Journeys.
Excellent. Yeah.
Sweet.
Next line.
Next line.
I'm like, where was I? Let's see. Where were we, actually? Because we are yin and yang, you know.
Are we?
Yes.
Sweet.
To know it is sublime and to
Ooh.
sustain its disgrace is to act as the social world's valley.
Mm. And what a beautiful mess this is. Shout out to Jason Mraz. It's like taking a guess when the only answer is yes.
That's right.
Jason Mraz. Cool. Did we finish the sentence?
Yep. To know it is sublime and to sustain its disgrace.
That feels so good.
Is
it is
to
sublime.
act as the social world's valley.
Yes.
That's not the same as a ravine. That's a valley.
To know it is sublime and sustain its disgrace.
So in other words, I'm feeling like, so to know it is sublime
Yeah. Mic
is
drop.
essentially like it's all good.
It is. Yes.
It's all good. It's all perfect.
It may not feel perfect in a moment. I know in like my huge worst catalysts, man, shit sucked. And I definitely was not knowing it was sublime.
Yes.
Although now I see that it was, and I would not want to change a thing about anything horrible that I'd ever experienced. It was all so perfect. And I can see now that it's always possible to see that perfection, see that sublimeness as it's happening.
Yes. That took a little practice, though.
It takes a lot of practice, and there's always new catalysts to practice with. So, yeah. To know it is sublime.
Well, and to sustain its disgrace. And sustain its disgrace.
Right.
Is to act as the world's the social world's valley. So, and sustain its disgrace is to act as the social world's valley.
Right. So to sustain its disgrace, like there's nothing to fix.
Right.
The disgrace, there's no, like stain. Just leave the stain.
Right.
It's fine.
Right.
That's part of it. That's part of it. The sublime.
Right. Well, and and also too, a social world's valley is almost like, so a valley to me is kind of like the rest period. So like you've been climbing the mountain, and finally you get to the other side of the mountain and you see the valley. It's almost like, okay, we're resting now.
Ooh, but even then, also like when you're climbing to the top of the mountain, what is the view?
Right.
You're looking at the valley.
Right.
That's what's desired, is to see the valley.
Yep.
So to act as the world's valley, you get to be that beautiful view.
Right.
By knowing it's sublime and sustaining its disgrace, not needing to change it. It is.
Yes. It is. It's.
Be that beautiful view that everyone's working so hard. You don't have to.
Right. Right.
That everyone's working so hard to see. You can just be that beauty.
I love that. That's so good. It is. It is an ultimate yin and yang balance. Because you're still gonna climb the mountain. That's our nature.
Right. And this supports that mountain. Yes. Without the valley, there is no mountain.
Right. I love it.
To begin with.
So good. Oh my gosh. All right. Constant virtuosity is sufficient to return to uncarved wood.
Oh, potential.
If wood is split, then regard it as an artifact.
An artifact. Artifact.
Yes. Constant virtuosity is sufficient to return to uncarved wood. So in other words, constant virtuosity, constant looking inward is sufficient to return to potential.
Yes, and so what that means is, this kind of goes back to you can never get it wrong.
Yes.
So meaning, even though you've had so much life and so much experience, and maybe you feel like, oh man, if I knew this 20 years ago, I would have done this whole other path. You don't have to fight anything. Just by being virtuous now, you will return to uncarved wood. You will re-become potential from now. So there's nothing missed. That was all part of the journey.
Wow.
And so just stay virtuous. Just stay in your alignment, and you will return to uncarved wood. You will be able to rebuild from scratch anything. It's not even a repair. It's a new whatever. Boat.
Yes.
House.
Yes. Career.
Whatever. Yes. Yeah, you can you don't have to rebuild. By staying virtuous, you will be in a place of starting fresh.
Yes. Yeah, because the potential is there at any given moment as long as you're staying true to your virtuosity.
Yes.
And true to yourself.
Yes. So there's no need to go to the bar on Fridays and remember the glory days. They're now.
Yes.
You have brand new glory days right now.
Yep.
But going to the bar is fun. But let it be fun. Let it not be thinking about the glory days. Let it just be a celebration of now.
Right. That's so perfect.
I love a cocktail. Let's celebrate now.
Is it happy hour yet? I'm
Yes.
just playing. It's always happy hour with us. Awesome. I love it. And then, of course, the last three lines. Sages use it and are regarded as officials and elders, so great systems do not cut.
Sages use it. So the wise ones use it. The wood?
No, yeah. And are regarded as officials and elders, so great systems do not cut. I'm assuming...
Well, wait, we did skip a little bit. If wood is split, then regard it as an artifact.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I got so excited about the uncarved wood.
So if wood is split, so I think that's saying, yes, if there were these glories, if there was this big fuck up, let it be an artifact. It's beautiful. It's not... It's its own piece of art.
Right.
Call that art. It was useful.
Right.
It's not something to be discarded. Just embrace it. Oh, wow. I love it.
It's history. It's a historical artifact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Celebrate it. Love it.
Yeah.
But
It's
you're
okay.
not. But you don't need to use it or look at it every day. Just leave it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sages use it. So do sages use the artifact, or do sages use
I think
the wood?
constant virtuosity
Nice.
is what they use.
Sages use it and are regarded as officials and elders. Nice. So this is all you need to do to be an outstanding leader in your community, in your job, in your workplace, on your team,
Mm-hmm.
in your world.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to prove anything. You definitely don't have to beat out any competition. Just stay in your alignment. Stay in your alignment.
Right.
What is true for me? What is true for me?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to surrender to right now? What do I need to act on right now?
Right.
And now. And now.
And now.
And now. And now.
And so great systems do not cut. I genuinely believe that's essentially, if it's working well, then this doesn't, you don't have to worry about the splits, or the uncarved wood is going to be there all the time. It's there's not going to be cuts.
Yes. Yeah, no splitting of the wood. It will sustain.
Yes. Any kind of system.
Yes. So you don't have to worry about sustaining.
Mm-hmm.
Just to stay in the alignment, stay in your virtue.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a great way of looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a good review. This particular chapter, because it's bringing in, how what we're trying to get across to you guys is how balancing your life really is an inside job.
Mm-hmm.
Has nothing to do with anybody else. Anybody else is going to reflect how well you're balancing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else around you. So, and that's how the systems work. That's how law of attraction works. Mm-hmm. That is how law of assumption works, which is Neville Goddard's teachings. And of course Abraham Hicks' teachings. But this yin and yang balancing is super important to live a fulfilled life, and also have awake relationships like Richard and I have, where we're balancing each other as we balance our own internal stuff.
Right.
And it's super awesome and super fulfilling to have these balances already established. But you can do it on your own, and then you will start seeing your world reflecting that back as you work on yourself.
Yeah, pretty immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was once I decided to embrace my yin and to stop fighting the yang conditioning, it was within 3 months that I met Richard. So pretty amazing.
Nice.
Amazing stuff. And also, of course, career got a whole lot easier, and doing things and creative things got a whole lot funner, and the world just became a much brighter and more beautiful place. The colors popped.
Yes. Suddenly there's more time to do everything.
Yes.
Oddly. Okay, let's as we close up this one, because I feel like we're kind of getting there.
Yes.
What are one or two things we can kind of offer up to practice virtuosity, or kind of tweaking the balance this week? Just one or two small things to maybe notice, or just to notice and maybe make small adjustments. Nothing major, but just to kind of begin to operate in this way.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is if you're a meditator, this would be maybe helpful for you to sit with this, but you don't have to meditate to do this. You can actually have this as an intention when you walk out the door in the morning, whether it's to work or to see family or whatever the case may be. The first thing in the morning is decide, who do I want to be today? How do I want to show up in the world today? That was a key practice for me, was deciding how I wanted to show up. Do I want to go on autopilot? I'm okay on autopilot. I'm a good doctor. I'm okay. But that wasn't how I wanted to show up. I wanted to show up lighter and brighter and making a difference in people's lives in a different way as opposed to pushing propofol.
Nice. Cool. So who do I want to be today?
Yeah, make that intention and even put it as a sticky note on your I have sticky notes all over my mirror. Richard can attest. It's his mirror too.
Yes.
But sticky notes, who do I want to be today?
Wonderful.
How do I want to show up today? You could phrase it that way too.
Yes. And so let's see, the offering I will share is to make a game out of finding the moments where something feels bad or it feels off. So rather than, I feel like crap, this made me mad, it shouldn't make me mad. Forget all that, but to be super excited that you have the awareness that something made you feel bad. Like, ooh, this thing made me feel bad. All right, cool, that's something, I'm working on that. Awesome. Because to not notice that you feel bad would be just to be feeling bad, just oblivious.
I just feel depressed all the time.
Right. Well, I don't even know that I feel depressed. It just...
Yes.
But to have this moment of, this sucks. Nice. Okay, so what's in this? Why does this feel like it sucks for me? Oh, because I'd rather da-da-da-da-da. Oh, okay, so now I can just da-da-da-da-da.
Right. It's like a directional.
Yes, exactly. And to be excited about the more times that you can catch it.
Yes.
Go for the high score of catching yourself feeling pissed.
Yes.
The noticing of it. Rather than, oh man, what a day, I got mad like 50 times just at my cat.
Yes.
But to rather go, ooh, got one. Because the more you notice, that is the little directioning
Right.
towards this who you want to be.
Right. It is. It's literally, it should be a bell in your ear that says, hold on, how am I showing up right now? And why am I perceiving this as something I don't like?
Right.
Because there's always a learning nugget in that, and it has to do with you. It's not the external world that's doing this. You are perceiving something that's making you feel like shit. You are perceiving that.
Right. Yes. So don't be mad at the GPS telling you what you wanted to know anyway.
Or screaming at the person that won't go fast enough in front of you in the car.
Guilty.
Move!
Let's go.
You're slow!